Hello and good afternoon to you all from the very, very sunny south of France. But I believe it is hotter in the UK. Anyway, um, I don't know if anyone will join because obviously this is not our normal time of day, but I'm sorry that it didn't work last night. The technical issues were insurmountable. So here I am. And I'm talking to myself, so I won't say much yet. Waiting for a few of you to come and join in, and we will see if anybody arrives. So we've got one person already. So, well, there we are. One's better than none, hey? Cheers. Hello to Beasley and hello to Chris Wilson, and thank you to the whoever liked it, and Amanda. I don't know how it quite works because there are three of you obviously here, but it says one person is here and Bluebell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you, but it still says only one and 2 likes. Now it says 13. So lots of you, and good day to you in Melbourne in Australia, Bluebell. Thank you for your participation from Australia. I don't know what the weather's like down in Australia, but the weather in the south of France is very, very sunny. And today my friend will be arriving to visit, which is very nice. And we will be having a little party tomorrow. So tomorrow, I doubt I'll be able to make a program because I think we'll be a little bit busy with various guests. So we'll have all sorts of people coming from lots of different places. So it'll be very, very nice to have a little bit of a drinks party in the garden. And there we go. It's cooler in Australia. Well, at Royal Ascot, the queues for the water fountain are longer than the queues for the bars because people are so dehydrated. And the poor horses, it's affecting them, of course. And obviously we're on to the, one of the big days at Royal Ascot today. I think if I were able to bet, which I am not, because unfortunately my VPN idiotic machine does not work for some odd reason. I do think you should place an each-way bet in the Gold Cup today on Yashin. That is my tip for you. The Daily Telegraph are tipping that, and I agree with their tip. I think it's a very good option for an each-way bet. I don't know what the odds are because I can't look at my Ladbrokes account. So it's very, very annoying for me because I can't join in. As much as I'd love to join in, it's not going to be possible. Apologies about the noise. There is a boat arriving, and the boat is thankfully backing up, going away. But it looks like a very nice boat. But there we go. Well done to Ombudsman who kept the Gostons run going. The Gostons have done very well at Royal Ascot this year, so well done to them. Yes, who is Charlie Brooks tipping? Well, Charlie Brooks says sing us a song in the 305. I think that could be an interesting option. Sing us a song is the 305. Sing us a song, James Doyle. So, a good James Doyle horse is always worth a little look at. So I would suggest having a look at those. So my tips today would be the Yashin in the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup is at 420, so go for Yashin. I think that's the horse to go for in that. An each-way bet. I only ever do each way. I'm very much an each-way kind of person. And I would go for, I don't know what the odds are, so it could be a total waste of time. And sing us a song in the 305. So there's 2 tips for you for Royal Ascot. That's something that, I'm sorry, there's sweat pouring off my head. I look like a madman. I probably should be sat inside, but I probably am a mad person, but well, I know I am, but there we are. Right. Hello to you all. Vazzy is making a carrot cake. I quite like a carrot cake. Haven't had one of those in years. Not something I ever see around much often, really, anywhere. But it's a nice thing to have. I love carrots, and carrots are good for your eyes, they say. So they help you see. So a carrot cake could be an easy way of helping yourself. There we are. I was reading an article this morning about coffee. Supposedly, when you get old, you're meant to drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. I only like Yorkshire tea. But Supposedly, coffee is something that you should be trying. Bluebell asks, is Minnie Thatcher still well and eating dog food? I'm afraid to say Minnie Thatcher has sadly departed. I don't know where the bird has gone. There are other ones, but I don't know what's happened to that bird. It's vanished. It's totally vanished. It's not come back, which is very, very odd. I have my theories, but I don't know. We will see. I think it has gone. And I don't know how it was gone, but we can probably guess. But there we are. You're babysitting your dog, and he's getting excited to hear the seagulls in the background. There aren't so many of them today, but I don't know. Maybe they've gone out for a bit of an adventure. I don't know. Mr. Lee Kicker likes carrots, and well, there we are. Right, okay. How is Lady Min? She's still in bed, and we're waiting for a painter. Well, the gardener was going to come and do some painting. And as typical of the way, 40 minutes ago, he was meant to arrive. And of course, he hasn't. So I don't know what's happening with him. So there we are. Yes. Oh, no, not you know who. Yes. Well, could be. There we are. Amanda says, hello, my son has invited me to a festival, but it's so hot. Should I go, do you think? Well, why not? Go to the festival, have an ice cream, have a gin and tonic, have some chilled white wine, and then you'll have a lovely time in the sunshine and whatever kind of festival it is, music or books or whatever. A lovely thing to go to. Yes, right. Okay. So you're sitting in the garden, says Angela, and you're enjoying the sun. Yes. Well, I hope you have a lovely time. Make sure you keep yourself well hydrated. That's what they say. And Royal Ascot, as they say, the queues for these water fountains, bigger than the queues for the bar. I would suggest they'd be better off going and having, some Pimm's and lemonade and or Pimm's with sparkling wine or whatever you prefer. A quiz question I've written for another quiz for a future date about what goes with Pimm's. Because there are various debates going on in various newspapers about such at the moment. Should you have Pimm's with soda water? I think not. No, I think that would be a very strange combination. I personally wouldn't go for it. But and none of this zero fat nonsense tonic water either. I'm not into that. Mr. Lee Kicker is climbing Pendle Hill tomorrow. Well, think of the Pendle witches, of course. The poor witches who were burnt at the stake after their trial at Lancaster Castle, which I used to live next door to. Poor women were, they were just poor, stupid old ladies who said the wrong things. So they ended up being accused of being witches. So it wasn't very, very nice what happened to them. It was a terrible, terrible thing to burn these people at the stake and all the rest of it, thinking that they were personifiers of evil. They were just somewhat stupid old ladies in the main. But the Pendle witches are a very interesting thing, and if you haven't read about them, I would suggest it's something that's well worth looking up on the old Google or whatever else they were hanged. Yes, some of them were hanged. Yes. I'm not sure. I thought some of them were burnt as well and what they used to do with witches was they'd put them down in the water with stones, and if they floated, they were allowed to live, and if they sunk, well, they were obviously evil or something. That was another crazy idea that people had in those times. People were very backward and weird. You're wearing sunscreen, yes. Well, sun cream, yes. Sunscreen, sun cream, yes. So there we go. It's the middle of the night in California, says Trevor. Good morning, says Leslie. Okay, well, thank you. So, yes, we've talked a little bit about Royal Ascot. I read a few interesting features on the death, or I'm getting messages coming in from somebody who's arriving. I've read messages about the death of poor Kim Woodburn. What a character Kim Woodburn was. I never met Kim Woodburn. I've not really watched many of her programs, but I've seen. I thought she was quite an entertaining lady when she had a go at that Colleen Nolan, who she called a filthy maggot. Because I didn't like those Nolan sisters. I met them once when I was very young and wasn't a great fan of the Nolan sisters. But there we are. Yes, she had a terrible, bizarre life, hateful mother, drunken mother, violent husband, years of abuse that turned as the Daily Mail says, the queen of clean into the queen of mean. And her and this co-star Aggie Mackenzie ended up having quite a Barney. They fell out in big style. So that was all rather unfortunate. But as they conclude, Kim Woodburn was not an easy woman, but the reason is not difficult to understand, which I totally agree with, because unfortunately, the lady really did have a very sad life, and the situation when she had a stillborn child and buried it in a park. That must have really impacted upon her. But having a mother who used to beat her up and hit her and all the rest of it, what a nasty thing. What are we having for lunch today? Moving on from Kim Woodburn. There we are. I'm not sure yet, but we will see. We'll see. I'd like to have a fish finger sandwich, but, can't have that every day. But we will have a lunch shortly. So, right. Okay. Have I watched The Burning Girls on Netflix? No, I don't have Netflix, so I can't watch it, and I don't have a VPN, so I can't watch any or even ITV or BBC. But I can only listen to the radio, which is all I ever do now, and I read books. And thank you again to the wonderful James Deacon, who kindly sent me books, and that was very, very kind. And I'll be sending a postcard as promised shortly. Once I did buy a stamp and I can't find it now. So it's disappeared somewhere. It's probably in the car, but I don't know where it's gone. Right. So I have to go and buy some more. Anyway, right. Okay. You're going out in the street. Bye for now, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Well, bye-bye, Mr. Lee Kicker. Hope you have a lovely day and enjoy climbing the Pendle Hill. Right. So, yes, going back to Kim Woodburn. She said, I work for some dirty beggars. She's dealt with all sorts of different things, and what a character she was. And, it's very sad that she's passed on. And I'm sad I never got to meet the lady, but there we go. That's Kim Woodburn. And then my next little topic I can talk to you about is this little rat, the rat bag, the feckless Fergie. What a ridiculous article this is, and rightly criticised by the Daily Mail subsequently. The Daily Telegraph article from Tuesday on Fergie, the Duchess of York, in which she talks about her trauma of her childhood and life in her public eye was so hard for her. And shouldn't we turn on the violins? Come on, Fergie. Living it up in the 30-room Royal Lodge in Windsor with Prince Andrew, the man who has his teddy bears arranged for him by his little staff, and they have to be arranged in a certain fashion. And he can't sweat. And he couldn't have assaulted anybody because he went to Pizza Express. Seriously, these two are a disgrace. And this woman, what this article does not disclose, which this article, Camilla Tominey, who happens to be, guess what? A friend of Prince Andrew. Camilla Tominey is a total useless woman. She's awful. She's ghastly. And she sucks up to Prince Andrew like nobody else. Emily Maitlis grilled the little bastard and put him in his place. He is a disgrace. He has brought shame upon our wonderful royal family like nobody else has ever done on our planet. Amanda says Fergie is unhinged. I totally agree with you. She is an unhinged woman, but this time she's gone too far. So she went to visit a mental health clinic in Switzerland, the Paracelius Clinic. Most people pay £100,000 to visit this clinic. She paid zero, and I believe they probably paid her. And they got a nice free 3-page article about their little clinic. And nobody else has gone on about it other than Ephraim Hardcastle in the Daily Mail, who pointed out that, most people would have paid 100,000. I would say my question would be, Fergie, how much did you receive for going to this clinic? How much did they pay you? Did you pay your own travel costs? Did you pay for anything else whilst you were there? Did you pay anything at all, Fergie? Because you don't pay anything to anyone, do you, Fergie? How is it you get all this money, Fergie, from people like Jeffrey Epstein, a sex predator, and you hang around with Ghislaine Maxwell and people like that? Well, you can't anymore because she's in prison. And that lovely man Peter Nygaard, who's also in prison, also a paedophile. What a harmless piece of toe rag you are, Fergie, and your shameless daughters, who are also on the grab all the time. Awful, awful people they are, just like you. I can't blame them for, it's not their fault they've got you and him as the parents. You are just the most terrible people. So, no, Fergie is absolutely appalling. John Miller makes a joke and says she gets free sausage rolls from Greg's every Friday afternoon. Well, in the article, she talks about how mental health knows no boundaries, and she's been through it all because she was abandoned by her mother, and all of this, that, and the other. It is so pathetic that this woman can't shut her mouth. The late Queen Elizabeth communicates with her through the corgis. We get all of this mumbo jumbo, how she has to go off to the witch doctor and, all the rest of it. And the cuckoo person, and oh yes, the mental health. Oh yes, poor her. It's so hard being Fergie, living in a mansion. There are people homeless on the streets of Britain. They don't go around complaining like this bloody woman. She's a disgrace. She's a shameless grifter and absolutely appalling. I am not a fan of Fergie. So there we go. Fergie, go and shove it up your jumper and run off. That's what I say. Anyway, this article, total disgrace. Well done to Ephraim Hardcastle for calling it out. Any more thoughts from any of you on that particular topic? She comes across as really up herself. I'm not surprised at your story. Precisely. This is why she goes on that program called Loose Women. Loose Women is about the level that she sits at. Her and that Colleen Nolan, the Nolan women, and that dreadful Gloria Hunniford. That's the level of quality of the worst member of the royal family. I actually find Fergie worse than Meghan. I know Meghan did much dislike, and she's been whinging and whining this week. I haven't spoke to Samantha in a few days, but her sister. But I will be speaking to Samantha to get her thoughts and see what she has to say, and I'll come back to you with those. But I will ask her about Fergie, because obviously she's never met Fergie, because she has never really been involved with any of the other members of the royal family. But Samantha speaks sense on many matters, so I'd be interested to see what she has to think. Angela says, I was at a charity and I sat beside Camilla Tominey. She was rude to the waiter, complained about the food. You can't stand her. Camilla Tominey is a dreadful example of the worst kind of journalist on the planet. We don't need people like Camilla Tominey to be writing anything about anything. She is boring. My friend at the Daily Mail, she actually believes she's actually very pleasant. She gets on very well with her. I don't know. Could I wave at Anne? Wave at Anne. Okay. Hello, Anne. Yes, I've given you a wave. Hello. There we are. You wanted a wave. So I don't know why you wanted a wave, but hello, wave. Okay. Right. Anyway, it's getting rather hot. I will be stopping quite soon. But if you have any more questions, please give me some questions. That'll be very, very nice. And then I shall go and make a little light luncheon, and we'll see how we get along with that. So we will see how we get on. But yesterday I did lots of gardening, lots more plants in the garden, and yes, we've got a wedding to go to next week, and then it's gradually time to go back to England and to get on with life. So it's going to be a different temperature, hopefully, by the time I arrive there, if I do arrive, and when. God only knows. We take every day as it comes along, and one has to accommodate issues, but there we are. So have you any questions for me? It's very hot here in the northwest. Too hot to do gardening. It's too hot to do gardening here today, but yesterday I did manage to do gardening, and our lovely nice German neighbor arrived this morning, and yes, I watered the garden, but I made sure not to get too much water onto the other side, because I generally water from above, so the water can go down and drip slowly, and that's the best way to water, according to my gardening fanatic mother. My mother is very into gardening. My mother is what you call a power gardener. You think I need a boat or hat? I did have lots of lovely hats from Lock & Co. and all sorts of places, and I always lose them. From Orvis, my fishing hat, which was a special fishing hat, lost that as well. I know where that's in Devon. I left that in Devon. I know exactly where that is. Probably gone by now. Will I be doing a live program later today? I don't know yet. I'm not sure. This is why I came to do one now, because with people arriving and people going and people doing this and people doing that, timing is unpredictable, but we will try. But it might be a little later than normal. Did I view the Craig Houston video from France? Asks John Miller. I'm not sure what Craig Houston or the video is, so I don't know. I've no idea what you're talking about. I'm probably being totally ignorant and stupid. Maybe I've missed the boat on something, but I do read very much. Every morning I read whatever newspapers we can get here. There was no Daily Mail today, unfortunately for Lady Min, because she likes the Daily Mail, but we got the Daily Telegraph, so we've got that, and I've got all these lovely books, and I do read things on the internet a little bit, but I try actually to read physical books and papers. I prefer them. There was a very good thing on Radio 4 this morning about the difference between an audio book and a real, a paper book and a Kindle book, and the general consensus was it's still better to read the physical book. I think you get more from it than you do from listening. You get the voice of somebody else, so you don't get your own interpretation. It's better to read the actual book. I agree with the sentiments of those who express them. There we are. You've missed me. Okay, thank you, Pig. That's very kind. I missed coming on and doing things that yesterday it didn't work. It was useless. I don't know. Right. Okay. Well, will Davina be arriving in the house? No, Davina. No. There we are. Anyway. Right. Okay. Well, I don't know if there's any more questions. We're nearly at 25 minutes, so I don't know if there's anything else you would like to ask about or anything else that I could comment on, but there we are. So it was just a quick hello, and thank you very much for your kind participation, and to the many of you who are already here. There's nearly 75 of you, which is quite a lot given it's a totally unexpected daytime broadcast, and most of you are going about your daily affairs. There we go. Right. Well, I shall depart, and I wish you a happy day and have a lovely time and good gardening. Take care, and pip pip. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. Right. And love to Tokyo and Melbourne and everywhere else where you're calling in from. the Pendle Hills and all the rest of it. Take care, pip pip, and goodbye.